Welcome back. So please settle down. For this third session in the day 3. Kindly keep your mobiles in the silent mode. Let's have lesser and lesser movements in the hall while the sessions are going on. And let's have lesser discussion in between discussions, small discussions happening in between the sessions. Right? As we are going deeper into the UHV3 content, let's have more and more focus on that. Okay, so now we'll go ahead with the content what we have been discussing in the forenoon session. Let me welcome Kumar Bhaiya for continuing the session. Mr. Bhaiya, you can carry on.
With that exercise that we are doing, observing the imagination. We'll do that for 10 minutes and then we'll proceed with the discussion. Is that okay? And that is going to be very sound sleep. You know? Yes. So let us do it for 10 minutes. So I have to find out what am I doing within me. I have to see my object of attention every moment. I am there with me. I am observing the object of my attention. That is, no need to compel myself to observe, no need to force myself to observe. Just be as you are and observe your object of imagination. Now try to see the feeling with that object of imagination. You remember somebody in your imagination, there must be some feeling associated with it. You remember some event in your imagination, there must be some feeling associated. So trace that feeling. Nice. So you can just note down at least one object of imagination that you could make out and the feeling associated with that object. Just try to note it. There must have been multiple objects, one by one. Now your imagination was migrating from one object to another object. But if you could note some object of imagination and the feeling associated with it, try to note it down. Fine. Pardon? How? How long? Okay, 10 minutes. Describe it a bit. Something that you can understand for yourself. I feel good, I feel bad, whatever. Anything. Maybe you had some obligation, some work has to be done. Your attention went there and you felt anxious. So there was feeling of anxiety there, some anxious feeling. You remembered somebody from your family, you felt good. And some feeling of affection was there. So that is something that you have to note. Or some irritation was there, isn't it? Some frustration was there, happiness was there, unhappiness was there. Whatever you saw, you have to note down. And then we will observe the next things. So we will continue with this. Every day, in almost every session, we will try to do this exercise in the beginning and then go ahead with the exploration. So what we can expect also from this workshop is that we become aware of our feeling every moment. So we will keep on exploring, we will keep on verifying the proposals, at the same time we will keep on being aware of our feeling, isn't it? And then see whether my feeling is in line with my natural characteristic or not, harmony or not, coexistence or not. We will observe it. Nice. So this is something that we are discussing. So if you talk about any unit, there are 5 dimensions of the unit, and form and property are changing, they have variety. Natural characteristic, innateness and coexistence is something which is definite, continuous and universal. Any question regarding this, or all the words are clear? Yes, color if you see, it can be placed in property. It is an effect of one object on another object, yeah. Yeah, the form, if you see the color, color is an effect of one object on another object, isn't it? So that would be a property. So we can study about our body. The form of the body is clear. What is the property of the body? Take the example of body. What is the property of the body? No, short, long is a form. What is the property of your body? Pardon? Behavior. Behavior pertains to you. What? Sensation. It is an information from body to the self. I am talking about the property of body. So, talk about the body.
Speaking, listening.
See, when you are utilizing your body, then you are speaking or listening. What is the property of a body? It is a material unit. That is an activity of the body. Feeling is there in the self, not the body. Yeah. So what would be the property of the body, I am asking. See, we are talking about
5 senses.
5 senses. See, like here we are sitting, है ना? If AC is on, we are not sweating. If the AC is not on, we start sweating. The body starts sweating. So this is property of the body. At a given temperature, it starts sweating. Over and above that temperature, है ना? It starts doing something else. Below that temperature, it does not sweat. Things like this. So this is the property of the body. We took food, the body is able to digest it. So there is an effect of the food on the body. There is also effect of the body on the food. If we had eaten stones there, it would not have got digested. We ate healthy food there, it is getting digested. So this is the effect of one unit on another unit. Yeah. Yeah, we can say because when we are maintaining that temperature, blood circulation is there, organs are working in such a way that one organ influences the other organ in such a way that the temperature is maintained.
Because it is an inherent characteristic of the body to maintain a body temperature, standard temperature.
But we are talking about property, not characteristic.
No, I am
The
talking about.
property is of one body organ on another body organ so that the body temperature is maintained.
But body is a composite thing, na? It consists of number of organs, tissues, cells. So we can take into consideration the property of every cell, every tissue, muscle,
Yeah.
all
so
those
for,
things.
when you talk about property, there have to be at least 2 units.
Okay, what are
So
they?
property of food on body, property of body on food. So there have to be 2 units. If you talk about the body itself, lungs and liver, they have effect of, there is effect of body, effect of lung on the liver, liver on the lung. So that essentially we are talking about the effect of one unit over another unit. So there comes the property. Yes, yes. We also say that Vat, Pitta and Kapha. So the body, the constitution of the body could be of Vat, it could be of Pitta, or it could be Kapha. So based on that, other things in the atmosphere have one kind of effect on the body or another kind of effect on the body. For example, in the same temperature of AC, somebody may start sneezing, somebody may start sweating, isn't it? That difference would be there. It varies from body to body. Behavior is to do with the self. I utilize my body to behave with you. For example, when I am talking to you, I am behaving with you. So the feeling is there in me, the selection of words is there in me, I am using the body to share some words with you. Now your body is receiving those words, and then you are reading those words, and then you are assigning some meaning to it, isn't it?
Bhaiya, what about the growth of hair and nails? Will it come under the purview of body, property of the body?
So look at it, like growth of hair and head. So effect of head on the hair and effect of hair on the head.
Okay.
That you have to make out. So if you use oil, the effect of oil on the hair would be one kind. If you use, don't use oil, it would be of another kind. Use variety of oils, every oil will have its own property,
Use
its own
shampoo.
effect on the hair.
Use shampoo, it will be having
Yeah.
some different property.
Yes.
Likewise.
Yes, yes, yes. Take a mic. Mic.
Bhaiya, when I see these characteristics, like can I apply all these 5 to the material unit also?
Being a unit is enough.
Any
Material
unit.
unit with material unit with conscious unit with conscious unit. The property is going to be there.
How come can I relate this innateness to a material unit? Coexistence is fine, I can understand.
Here we had the chart, no? So innateness.
Okay.
Nice. So we can understand it here. So this is something that we have explored. So if you look at it, when you talk about the form is defined for a single unit. So U1 is unit 1. But when you talk about the property, U1 and U2 both have to be there. 2 units have to be there. So whenever there are 2 units, there would be some effect of one unit on another unit. There has to be some effect because they are related, isn't it? So if you look at our current curriculum in academics, when we are studying about physics, chemistry, biology, what we are doing? We are studying about form and property. What does this chemical have as an effect on this particular chemical? How to make a compound, how to make an alloy, what we are doing? We are studying effect of one unit on another unit, isn't it? And by that virtue only we have light in the room, we have air conditioner running, we have been able to produce so many facilities because every physical facility has some effect on another physical facility. The machine has some effect on the product. So by virtue of that only we are manufacturing. So if you look at the current academics, we are only dealing with this, form and property. So the form in the shape, size, density. For example, if you talk about the body has a shape, the body has a size. Is it same all the time or keeps varying, changing? So you have a size, but if you see, size is not changing every day, but the shape is changing. When you are standing, you have one shape. When you are sitting, another shape. You are lying down, another shape, isn't it? The shape is changing. When I fold my legs, it is another shape. When you open my legs, it is another shape. So the shape of the unit is changing, isn't it? Pardon? Yeah. Yeah, but that will not happen within few seconds. So size may change, yes. You were a baby, few years back, isn't it? So the size was this much, now you are this much. The size has changed. Density is there, of the body. When you talk about property, it is effect of one unit on another unit. So the recognition and fulfillment is there of one unit on another unit. So you have to start to study from the body itself. Some people have taken food much more than the body can hold. So that is another property. Nice. Now when we see through the sensation, so we can see the form, shape, size, density, and we can see some part of the property, effect on another unit. So here when we are seeing through sensation, the body is involved, the self is also involved. Now here when I am seeing something, then the 5 sense organs are here. So we are looking through the eyes, isn't it? So to make out the form of any material object, I utilize my eyes to see the volume of some sound, I utilize my ears. So the senses are working here. Now here I can see like effect of one unit on another unit, like testing and analyzing. Here thought is involved. Here only selecting and testing is involved. So to see the form, selecting and testing are involved. For example, I see someone, so the shape of the body gets imaged in my eyes. From the eyes it reaches me. I TF the shape of the body. I TF the shape of a plant, isn't it? Now what is the property of the plant? For that I have to utilize my capacity to think. So if I give water in the roots of the plant, it nurtures. If I put buttermilk in the roots of the plant will worsen, it will die out. It is said that if you have to remove thorns completely, put buttermilk in the roots, it will never grow again. So the buttermilk will have one kind of effect. So what we are doing here, I put water in the roots of the plant and see the change in the shape of the plant or the color of the plant, the size of the plant, and I see that yes, water is nurturing. If I put buttermilk there, I see that it is drying away, so it is worsening. So I am also analyzing within. When we are conducting some experiment on chemistry in the lab, we look at the form, and by the change of the form, we analyze that yes, this is the effect. Does it happen? So we are utilizing our analysis there. Now, when we are seeing what is rational, then it is completely taking place in the self. For example, some part of the property, when I am just analyzing within. So I conducted some experiment, I looked at the shape, size and the difference in that. Now that sight is gone. I am thinking in my own office and just analyzing what has happened. How come the color got changed? What could be the reason behind it? Isn't it? And then we come to analyze something, and then we come to conclude something. So when I am seeing through sensation, both self and body are involved. When I am seeing what is rational, then I am able to see some part of the property and it is completely in the self. Isn't it? So it is said that one person was there, Kekule, who discovered the shape of benzene. So he conducted some experiment in the lab, and he was not clear how come this benzene could be structured, because how come this kind of effect is coming when I am doing some chemical experiments. And in his dreams at night, it is said that he saw that snakes are there. One snake is eating the tail of another snake, and they are all in a circle. And the next morning say that okay, benzene has this kind of structure. Yeah, so if you look at the benzene structure, it is cyclic. If you look at methane, ethane, they are branching, but benzene is cyclic. So he was just analyzing within, and he came up with that formula for benzene. So what is happening? It is completely happening within the self, isn't it? Or you went home and you were not able to find the mobile charger. You keep on thinking what has gone wrong, where did I keep it, and suddenly it clicks you that oh, I put it in the drawer. You analyze within yourself and found out that yes, I must have kept the charger there, isn't it? In fact, when I was doing class 12, so there was one physics teacher, and he used to say that Newton's laws are most clear to the child. We get confused. For example, he puts the toy in a room. Next time he goes to the room, that toy is not there. He simply will ask, who took my toy? He knows that unless an external force is applied, it will not move. Isn't it? First law. Now, when we try to see what is existential, then the higher level activities are involved. So I am able to see, recognizing and fulfilling here, I am able to see the relationship here, but the way it is being fulfilled when I am looking at the level of property, isn't it? The air in the room has some relation to my body. If there is more of carbon dioxide, we start suffocating. So this is something that I am able to analyze. But more basic to it is I am able to see that air is basically related to my body. There is a relationship, isn't it? This is something that I am able to contemplate. So when I am analyzing, I can only see the change in form, shape, size, color by which I analyze something. But at the very base, I am analyzing because they are related. The river is related to the land is related to the plant, the land is related to me through air, water, soil, isn't it? So I am able to see that they are basically related. This being able to see that they are basically related is contemplation. I can also see that every unit has a definite conduct. It was there, it is there, it is going to be there. It is very much there. It is there in a self-organized manner. So body, presently is in the form of body. Sometime later it will go back to the soil. But the atoms and molecules that make my body will remain. So they are going to be very much. And every part of the body is going to remain. Some part will go to the ashes, some part will go to the air, some part will go to the soil, some part will go to the water, isn't it? But it is going to remain. Is that true? And I am also going to remain. I am not a part of the body. So this is something I am able to see at the level of understanding, this self-organization. I was teaching UHV-2 in my class, and one student was continuously arguing that how can you say that the self is there? So I said, okay, let us go rationally. Let us assume that the self is not there and you are merely the body. Okay, he said, yes, I am saying the same thing, I am merely the body. Then I said that, okay, after some time what will happen to the body? He said, the body will die. Then what will happen? The body will go back to the soil. And what will happen? A plant will crop from the soil. Then what will happen? A cow will come and eat the plant. And what will happen? The cow will give dung. What has happened to you now? If you assume that you are only the body, why so much of education if this is the future? Pardon? See, when we say soul, soul is the faculty in me to see the submergence. Natural acceptance is all these three. The reflection of relationship, harmony and coexistence in me. Soul is the faculty in me to see coexistence, submergence. Yes, it is one dimension of the self, one faculty of the self. So in talking terms also, we say that the soul will never tell you the wrong thing. What does that mean? That inner voice, what does that mean? So when I refer to this innate faculty, I always get the right answer. So one way of relating soul is to say that the faculty to see the coexistence. Another way could be this whole thing can be termed as soul. Block B1. If you look at the usage, the word soul has been used for block B1 also. And pardon? Yes. And another usage is also there when we equate self to soul. When we say that Atma Amar hai, soul is indestructible, okay? It is always there. Then we are trying to relate the word self to soul. So these three usages are there. Either we can equate self to soul, or we can equate block B1 to soul, or we can equate activity or realization to soul. But to be very precise, what we can do, we can relate this to soul, activity or realization. Pardon?
Form also property.
Form is not a property.
That is a size, shape, generally we will say density, physical property.
We may say that, but what we are saying here, it is form, it is another aspect of the unit.
Or properties of body, properties of conscious unit and properties of material unit we can say.
Yeah, so property is something to do with effect.
Effect.
Yeah, effect.
We are
of one
defining
unit on
like
another unit. Now, when we go to see what is existential, then we have to see from block B1, the activity of contemplation, understanding and realization. So, when we say, like here we are saying innateness, self-organization, natural characteristic, that is the participation in the larger order, and coexistence, submergence. So, when I am able to see this for the nature, I can see this. We will talk about this at length. We have briefly talked about in UHV2 also. So, we are acquainted with these words. So, I can see the innateness of every order in nature. I can see the natural characteristic of every order in nature. So, here I am contemplating. So, if you look at the natural characteristic of the body, what will be the natural characteristic of the body from this table? What can be said as the natural characteristic of the body from this table? Yeah, so this is it, nurturing and worsening with composition, decomposition. That is the. So, you just see when we eat food, what is happening? The food is nurturing my body, and the body is worsening the food. It is absorbing all the material from the food. So, the food is getting worsened, the body is getting nurtured. Does it happen? Nice. So, participation of human being in the entire nature. So, to understand the inherent harmony in nature and to live accordingly, that is to facilitate a conducive environment for the activity, at least not violate it of all orders, to facilitate the innateness or at least not violate it of all orders, and to ensure the inheritance or at least not violate it of all orders. So, what would be my role in the entire nature? So, with the physical order, if you look at it, so the innateness of the physical order is existence. So, I facilitate its existence by ensuring conducive environment and maintaining or ensuring its constitution. For example, the constitution of earth. So, the inheritance is constitution here. In fact, we can discuss more about this in module 4, because then the whole table also has to be explained. This is just something that we are just looking at what is going to be studied. So, I think I can escape this. We can discuss more at length when we are talking about. In module 4 we are going to discuss, or I will have to discuss the whole table. So, I think for time being we can escape this. Yeah, we will discuss this at length there. हाँ 8 लगा दीजिए. So, now we are going to talk about the knower, to be known, and the process of knowing. So, who is the knower? Self. And to be known? Existence. The whole existence. And what will be the process of knowing? Self-exploration. Nice. So, this is. Nice. Resolution, we can see that there are 9 components of it, starting from right understanding and going up to human tradition. So, this clarity within me, when I have this clarity within me, then I feel resolved. Whatever with the issue around me, I am resolved. I know what consciousness is, I know what material is, I know what coexistence is, I know what can happen. At the most, what will happen? Consciousness will remain as consciousness, material will remain as material, coexistence will sustain. Whatever events will take place, would be there in terms of form and property. So my legs may get broken next day. There is a probability that it can get broken. So it is nothing new that may happen, isn't it? So whatever may happen in future is already known to us, that this possibility is there. Only that when it is going to happen or not happen is something else. But what can happen, what cannot happen is known to us, isn't it? I cannot be happy by having the feeling of opposition. And when I have the feeling of relationship, I am going to be happy. This is already known. So with this clarity, we always find ourselves resolved. How there will be harmony in the society, people may be fighting with each other, there may be wars, there may be climate changes, but I am resolved that yes, since they are living by the wrong program, that's why the outcome is like this. If they live by the right program, the outcome is going to be something natural, isn't it? So we do not get perturbed, we do not get disturbed, anxious with this clarity. The program is always clear. So when you say perseverance, when you talk about the natural characteristic of a human being living with human consciousness, when I am resolved, I persevere. Persevere means every time I am always working in terms of resolution, because I am resolved within and I am trying to resolve the other. This becomes the common program of every human being.
Bhaiya, first I will identify my goal and then work for it to ensure right understanding, or with right understanding I can identify human goal. So this 3.1 and 3.2 flow is confusion.
So the clarity of human goal is an outcome of right understanding and not the other way around. नहीं, हैप्पी होना चाह रहे हैं कि नहीं वो तो अपने आप में देख के बता सकते हैं. उसके लिए तो ह्यूमन गोल की क्लैरिटी भी नहीं चाहिए. हाँ, इट मीन्स जब मैं रिलेट करता हूँ सोसाइटी से तो जो मुझे क्लैरिटी दिखाई देती है अपने आप में, दैट इज ह्यूमन गोल. सो टॉक अबाउट राइट अंडरस्टैंडिंग. राइट अंडरस्टैंडिंग इज टू सी द रियलिटी एज इट इज. सो हु इज द नोवर? द सेल्फ. टू बी नोन इज द एग्जिस्टेंस. कुछ हो रहा है. Now when we talk about knowing, there are three things to be known: the human being, the existence, and the human conduct. So I have to know the human being, so I have to know myself, I have to know the existence, and I have to know my role in existence, that is the human conduct. See, when you talk about human being, we are talking about self and body. Human conduct is the participation of human being in the entire existence. So human being is a unit, an order itself, and then it is participating in the larger order. So if you see the logo that has been designed for UHV, one person is sitting like this and thinking. So he is contemplating on the role in the entire existence. So that is the human conduct. We are trying to look into our role in the entire existence, isn't it?
Bhaiya, where is the knowledge on the material here?
Where is the
Knowledge on the material here.
हाँ, knowledge of material, yeah. So when we talk about existence, it includes space, material, and consciousness all. When we talk about human being also, then we are studying about self, that is consciousness, and material both. Body is material, yes. Self is consciousness, yes. Now what is the process of understanding, that is knowing? So it is awakening to the activity of contemplation, understanding, and realization. So if you see, again it is self-exploration only, but now more precisely put in terms of higher activities of the self. So when we had the introductory workshop, we were making that diagram that we discussed yesterday also. Proposal is there, I am verifying within at the level of natural acceptance, and then I am validating my living, isn't it? Then we had another diagram where thought was there, realization was there on the top, behavior and work was there. That is another way to express self-exploration. And this is another way to express self-exploration. Ultimately, what do we need to do? we need to awaken the activities of contemplation, understanding and realization. Yes. Yeah. So again, yeah, the content of knowing, when we were talking in the introductory workshop or UHV2 also, we are talking about harmony at 4 levels. Yeah. Now we are putting it in some other way. So if you look at family, okay, family has human beings and relation between human beings. Yeah, so that human conduct is the participation, the essence, the feeling would be there when you go to know the human being. So they will be related, yes. So there we are talking about 4 levels, and now we are talking about 3 things to be known. So the object of contemplation is natural characteristic, that is relationship. So it can be called as natural characteristic. Yes. The food was too heavy or you made a choice. So the object of contemplation is natural characteristic, and that is to say relationship. Similarly, I understand the innateness, that is to say harmony, and I realize the coexistence, that is coexistence or submergence. So essentially we need to awaken to this. This is the process of knowing. This is clear? Noted? Ji. With realization only?
With realization, will I have knowledge of human conduct?
Yes. So it is a natural outcome of realization. When I am able to see the submergence of nature in space, then I am also able to see my role in this entire existence. So these 3 are related. For example, when we talk about human being and we talk about activities in block B1, then we again go to talk about coexistence, because ultimately the object of realization is coexistence. So I see that also there. So when I go to know the human being, I also come to see the existence, and in my imagination I am also able to see the human conduct. In fact, in the process of understanding, we live by human conduct so that it enables me to know the human being and existence. So the essence would be in block B1.
Okay.
The imagination part is there in block B2.
Me too.
But the human conduct will also encompass B3 and B4, where I am interacting with human being and the rest of nature.
Bhaiya, what is B3 and B4? I
So
heard
yeah, so
it.
so when I am interacting with the human being, we may call it as block B3.
Okay.
With the rest of nature, we can call it as B4.
So this human conduct, definite human conduct, will be visible through B3 and B4, and the origin is from B1.
Yeah. So if you remember, we'll talk about it in detail also. When you talk about human conduct of values, policy and character, if you remember, values are contemplated in block B1, policy is there in block B2, and character is in outside world, in block B3 and B4. So human conduct will encompass block B1, B2 and outside also.
Okay.
Bhaiya, I am having one doubt. Whenever we came across any accident, today morning also I saw in the newspaper 3 of SRM students got drowned in a quarry pit. Similarly, entire family died in a car accident. So when we come across such news, maybe for 5 or 10 minutes, I am at disharmony. So how to look at such natural calamities or disasters or accidents?
So if you analyze that news, you will see that lakhs of people are living or driving irresponsibly. Out of those lakhs, only 3 met accident to this extent. So I am able to see very much that people are not living with a feeling of responsibility. They are having indefinite conduct. Sometimes that indefinite conduct is so much damaging. So I get a feeling of responsibility that I have to educate the people. First of all, I will look at myself whether I am driving properly or not, whether I take care of my body properly or not. And to the extent that I can educate people, I will try to educate them in such a way that they do not commit such mistakes, isn't it? So of course this is not desirable, but this is something that we can expect. If people are not having definite conduct, they will have indefinite conduct, and indefinite conduct will have its own consequences.
Still, I am not.
Now I am saying that people with lack of right understanding, right feeling, right thought will have indefinite conduct. So people in the society are living with indefinite conduct. Now that indefiniteness may cross some limit, after which crimes may take place, accidents may take place, catastrophe may take place, all those possibilities are there. So I am already prepared for that this may happen, isn't it? So proactively what will you do? We will try to educate people. Now see, like traffic police is there to challan those who are not putting on helmets. Now the government is feeling that it is its responsibility so that people don't meet accident, and people will try to escape the traffic police without helmets, not put on helmets. Now what is being done here? People are so irresponsible. The government is taking extra pain to protect their life, and they are not taking that pain. If they have to just put on a helmet, somebody, I think Priya Didi only was sharing in a morning session, that she felt very bad.
College student.
Not a staff met accident the early morning, right?
The college
previous
bus.
Day, yeah. So the college bus basically had accident with the college staff only, and the person died. Then I simply asked her, was he putting on the helmet or not? So the answer was no. So ultimately the person is not responsible. Yeah, I am not saying this is the only reason, but we have to see these mishappenings, how much they owe to indefinite conduct. Who is making the roads? Take the mic.
That is getting penalty for not wearing, this is not enough. They have to maintain the road. Everything should be correct.
See, who is the government? We are the government.
No, they can take charge, fine for the not wearing helmet. That time they can spend on maintaining the road, no. So that can be done.
See,
implementation part is not good, sir. Of course, we are the government. Government is by the people, of the people, for the people. But we have no power to control. They have to establish rules and they have to implement. Their problem comes, all these accidents, disasters.
so the problem is that each self who is the knower has not come to know this whole thing. Whether I am on this side of the table or that side of the table, the right understanding is missing, the right feeling is missing, the right program is missing. So mishappenings are taking place, isn't it? And if you look at these mishappenings, they are taking place much less than what can happen.
Sometimes technical error also causes.
Yeah, if technical error is there, then we have to do some upgrade our skills.
Yes, yes.
But most of the time, if you see, it is because of inhuman conduct, indefinite conduct, isn't it?
But most of the accidents because of bad conditions of roads and negligence of these people who drive their vehicles.
Yeah. So when people are not driving responsibly, when people are not driving responsibly,
Actually, awareness programs also should be conducted. No, how to behave in roads. That kind of that is never given to students, especially students. We don't give.
yeah, see, ultimately all the programs that you conduct, if it is not able to relate the human being to the state of continuity of happiness, the person will do something or the other for excitement. So that awareness program will not help after some limit. To some limit it can help. But ultimately I want to be happy in continuity. I do not have a program for continuity of happiness. So what to do? So I will do something for excitement. I will not hold my handle of bicycle or motorcycle and then just drive. Isn't it? In Noida we keep on getting news that students are caught when they are driving irresponsibly, not holding the handles, or there will be people who are sitting in the cars and then peeping out of the window and just moving on the road like that. Why are they doing that?
Bhaiya, in continuation with the question that Geeta Didi asked, like when you say that when we cross the level of indefiniteness, that may likely to happen. But at some cases we can see that someone who is having right understanding may become a victim of certain things. How to interpret or have a clarity on that?
Yeah, so for that we can be little cautious. We are able to see that people have indefinite conduct. So when you are driving, you assume the other person to have indefinite conduct.
But
And then drive responsibly. When you are moving on the road, you are always clear that people are not having right understanding. So take some precaution. That's what.
So it's like everybody should be with the definite conduct, right? That is the only solution.
If I understand, there is nothing I should or shouldn't. If I understand, I live with definite conduct.
Yes.
And then I have compassion for others also. I can see that people who are not having right understanding will not live with definite conduct. So I have to make a program for them.
And what is the definition of fate here? Like if innocent or somebody has been affected because of such kind of things, we generally term that to be the fate of the particular person or the family.
See, when we are not able to see the reality as it is and we are caught up in form and property, then we associate so many words to that. So basically it is coincidence.
Okay.
A mere coincidence.
Okay, Bhaiya.
Yeah. Nice. So self is the one who pays attention, who sees, who observes. When we say sees, it has the whole range depending upon from where you are seeing. So when we are saying seeing, what does seeing mean? So knower, the seer, that is the self, to see the reality as it is. So when I am seeing at the level of testing and selecting, I am seeing the shape of the reality, isn't it? So I am seeing the shape of the reality. It is happening at the level of selecting and testing, at the level of expectation. When I am comparing and analyzing, I am seeing the effect of this reality on some other reality, isn't it? When I am contemplating or imaging, I am seeing the participation of this reality in relationship in order. When I am understanding or I am determining, then I am seeing the innateness, the harmony of this reality. And at the level of realization or authentication, I am seeing the coexistence, the submergence of this reality. Now where do I stand? What is my present level of competence? This is something that I have to make out for myself. To what extent am I able to see? Do I see only up to here? Do I also see up to here? Or do I see here also? So mostly you will see that if I am not exploring, I live at the level of expectation. Let something happen which can make me happy. Now what is happening here? I am trying to only see something outside which can make me happy. Let somebody bring a big gift for me, let somebody put some kind words in my ears, let somebody do this for me or that for me, mostly at the level of expectation. And then I get motivated or demotivated by looking at the form of a unit. I go to my relative's place, I look at his building, such a nice building, such a nice color of the building, a facade you see, so nice, so beautiful. and it mesmerizes me. What is happening? I am associating my happiness only to the form of something. I am not sure what is happening inside the house. The house may be very good looking. What is happening inside the house? Are people happy living in that house or not? This is something, as a very common kind of mistake. When you look at a person, how do we judge a person? Maybe by clothes, maybe by looks. But what is going on inside the imagination of the person, we seldom know. And then we try to judge people by these things, which is not the right evaluation, isn't it? So when I am living only at the level of expectation, I get guided and misguided from here, the form of the unit. Somebody brought a new car, right? And I get mesmerized by the look of the car, the shape of the car, the color of the car. But next day I come to know that he cheated his friend to purchase this car. What is happening here? My impression will change. But I can very much make out that having or possessing this kind of car is not an outcome of right understanding, or is not a sign of right understanding at least. I can go for that car if I require, but it is not something that clearly signifies right understanding. So when I am living only at the level of expectation, and I am only looking at the form, when I am comparing and analyzing, I am able to see the effect also. So will this house have an effect on the harmony in the family or not? Will this car have an effect on my, what kind of effect this car will have on my body? So presently if you see, we start from the house, in the car, we are sitting. We go to the office, again we are sitting. Again we drive back, we are sitting. At home again we are sitting. In 24 hours we are sitting for at least 16 hours. And then what happens? We have so many trouble, so many problems in the body, isn't it? So I can see that to ensure my health, I need to do labor. I need to do exercise. I need to regulate postures of the body. So whether I require this much of sitting also or not. If not, then I will not use my car to go to the office. Maybe, for example, I will use something where I can run, I can jog, I can walk, isn't it? I can cycle, that will also help me. So no longer am I going to be caught up in the imagination like this. So I can see the effect of the reality. Now when I am contemplating, I am able to see the participation, the relationship. So I can to it. The two are related. The two are related. That's how the effect is there. If you see, this pointer has an effect on the screen, that light is coming. So I can see the effect. If I press this, this light will come. There is some laser beam here, and this has been done in some way or the other. At the same time, I can see that material units are related. Effect could be this way or that way, but they are very much related. This is contemplation. Again, I can see at the level of understanding the harmony, the innateness. And at the level of realization, I can see the cohesion. So self is the seer, and includes the whole range of it. With all this put together, we are able to see a reality in its completeness. The major part being seen through contemplation, understanding and realization. When we are able to see a reality in its completeness, self is called the knower. So it is the knower, basically I have come to know. The knowing is accomplished. A better way to put it would be that the knowing is accomplished. Is it fine? Yeah. Yeah, contemplating is seeing the natural characteristic, the participation. Imaging may or may be without contemplation. So when basically when we are imaging our role, and that could be without contemplation also, that can be with contemplation also. So for example, a very basic image is to have a happy and prosperous life. We all try to image it, and that image may be dictated by preconditioning or sensation. Now what does happy and prosperous life mean to me? Then I draw an image of that life, like a good family, a good career, or this thing, that thing, all those things put together, I make an image and I call it a happy life, a prosperous life. But when I come to see the participation, the harmony, and the submergence, then I have a different image of happy and prosperous life. It is not subject to physical facilities, it is not subject to body, it is subject to knowing, right understanding, because that can only ensure happiness in continuity.
Bhaiya, as a self, I have some expectations. I do comparison with other. But by natural acceptance, I should not do that. Similarly, the other self is also expecting from me. For example, I put a mango tree. Mango should come, but I am expecting on one branch I should get coconut, other branch I should get jackfruit. So I am also keeping my expectations high. On the other side, they also expect more.
See, there is no problem with the activity of expectation or activity of comparing. They are very much there. So I do compare. Comparing is an activity of mind. Similarly, I do expect. But whether my expectation or comparing is guided by right understanding or not is the issue. And if you look at our expectation, what would be a higher expectation than this, that let every human being be happy? We have such a big goal.
When this will get balanced? Bhaiya?
Pardon?
When it will get balanced? I also have expectation, other is also having expectation.
Yeah, now the problem is that if the expectation is not guided by all this, realization, understanding and contemplation, then the expectation is related to form and property, isn't it? Without knowing the basic laws. So I may expect that now after attending UHV-3, I am enlightened. But that is not going to happen, isn't it? So I can see the process now. It does take time, it will take time. So what happens, expectation is there now also, but it is guided. I can see that ultimately when I am able to realize the whole existence as coexistence, then only I will be in a state of happiness and continuity, isn't it? And others also, they are not having the right understanding, so they are also expecting so many things. The basic expectation is that I want to be happy, but when I do not understand happiness, then what I expect, let others make me happy. And this is the problem in relationship, in the family, let others make me happy. I am as I am, accept me as I am. You have to change yourself so that I am happy. In the? So there are not two modes of laughing now. Nice. So there are many formulations of what is to be known. Basically, it is having the right understanding or having the knowledge of the entire existence. So if you see the tradition, there have been many formulations. If you look at the Vedic darshan, there will be one kind of formulation, Bauddha darshan another kind of formulation, Jain darshan another kind of formulation, Madhyav darshan another kind of formulation. There could be so many formulations. But the essence of all those formulations is that ultimately we have to know all these three. So one of these formulations is in terms of knowing the following: human being, existence, and human conduct. So nothing has to remain. I have to know the entire existence as it is, isn't it? And I can see that I am the knower, so I have to start from myself, isn't it? So I have to know myself, and knowing me is not subject to one human being. So knowing me means knowing the human being. So knowing the consciousness, knowing the material, isn't it? So this formulation is keeping in mind the human existence and human living at the center. Further, the process of knowing, when we go to understand the entire existence, requires that first we have to know the self, the knower. Only when we know the knower and we are sure that knower has developed the competence to know the existence as a whole completely, then only we can be sure of its knowledge of existence. तो बात उतनी ही है घुमा फिरा के कहें, सीधे सीधे कहें, है ना, उतनी ही बात है.
Bhaiya, you mean to say that human being is values, existence is policies, human conduct is characteristics?
No, no, no. I said human conduct includes all the three: value, policy, and character. So there are three components of human conduct, है ना? Nice. Any question?
So that means block B1, B2 won't come in human being or existence. It comes B1, B2, B3, B4, all blocks come in human conduct.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, because
So the
before...
values are to be contemplated. So they will be there in block B1, policy will be there in block B2, and character would be there in expression.
Because before it was said like characteristics are human conduct, which includes B3 and B4, human to human and human to rest of nature.
Yeah, so the expression part is there. If you put it very precisely, it will include block B1, B2, B3 and B4, all the four. Because the values will be there stated in me at the level of contemplation. The policies, programs, implementation, evaluation of programs will take place in the imagination. And when I go to implement it, I will do it in my behavior and work.
Then what does this human being and existence signify?
Pardon?
Like all the blocks are encompassed by human conduct means, what does human being and the existence signify? Is
No,
there
so-
any separate blocks allotted to it?
Yeah, so if you take human conduct only to be expression, then it will be there in expression only, at the level of character. But there has to be some basis of that character, that expression. So when you talk about conduct, we have to include value. So it's not that they are mutually exclusive. Ultimately, human conduct will include human being, isn't it? And when we talk about human being, we talk about block B1 and block B2 both, because they are in the self. So they are not going to be completely segregated or isolated. Now when you talk about existence also, so when you talk about block B1, we talk about the activity of realization. When you talk about realization, we talk about submergence. When you talk about understanding, we talk about harmony of four orders. So ultimately what is happening here, within me I am seeing the whole reality. So when I talk about the reality, ultimately I am the seer. So when I talk about existence, ultimately I am going to see the existence. So when I talk about existence, I talk about the existence as well as my seeing the existence. So I have to talk about the self also, I have to talk about the rest of existence also, isn't it? It will go like that.
That means block B1, B2 is applicable for all three formulations, and human conduct alone will have four formulations. Am I right in my
They are not
understanding?
formulations. See, it includes. It includes. So human being, when you talk about human being, you have to talk about self and body. When you talk about the nature, again we have to talk about material and consciousness. But material, body is material, consciousness is the self. So understanding the human being, I can understand the whole of nature. Now while I go to understand myself, I can see that I am there very much in space. So I can see the whole existence also. So this way it is related.
Thank you.
Is that clear?
Yeah, getting clarified.
Nice, nice, man. So the process of awakening is, or knowing is, awakening to the activities of contemplation, understanding and realization, whereby we can have the clarity, understanding of relationship, harmony and coexistence of one unit and ultimately of every unit in the entire nature. So realization of coexistence, that is seeing the existence as coexistence, which is in the form of units submerged in space. So you will see that it is a kind of hologram. We start from any point, ultimately to see the whole, isn't it? It cannot be something in isolation. So the space is there, units are there. Units are of two kinds, material and consciousness. They are submerged in space. I am able to see this. So gradually moving from bottom to top, we are able to see the units, their innateness, their characteristic, the natural characteristic, the inheritance. Going by that, ultimately we are able to see the basis for all that. How come every unit is continuing with its innateness? How come every unit is continuing with its natural characteristic? What is there at the base? When I see that, I come to see the submergence. Now understanding is understanding of harmony, self-organization in the nature. So seeing the innateness, the self-organization or harmony of one unit and ultimately of every unit, the entire nature. Contemplation of my participation in the larger order in relationship. So seeing the participation in relationship in larger order of one unit and ultimately of every unit, the entire nature. So now let us look at this. So you can start from contemplation. Now how to see this, how to contemplate on my participation. So for example, when we talk about relationship, we talk about the feeling of trust, and then we ask those 8 questions. Do I want to be happy? Do I want to make the other happy? So when I say that I want to make the other happy, this is my participation with other self. When I ask myself, does the other want to make me happy, this is the participation of other self with me. And when I am able to see very clearly that I want to make the other happy, the other wants to make me happy, then only I am able to see my participation with the other unit. If I have a doubt that yes, I want to make the other happy, but the other may or may not make me happy, want to make me happy, then that doubt hinders my participation. I have a fear there, I have a doubt there. So if you look at the words, they are very limited, but the expanse of meaning, when I try to relate to my day-to-day life, is something that I have to continue with. So we can start looking at the meaning of these words in our own living. Am I able to see my participation with every human being? There is one person in the house who keeps on shouting. I don't know what problem he or she has. What is my participation with the other unit? Do you just sellotape on the mouth or something else? Or put a sellotape on my ears? What is my participation? See, all the time you see, we are trying to contemplate what has to be done with this person, and how I can have happiness with this person. So we are trying to contemplate, but it's only that when we are not able to look at the innate feeling, we are not able to contemplate. We are trying to contemplate. Whenever there is a problem, we try to think what is the root cause of the problem and how to remove that root cause.
Bhaiya, in this regard, I am getting some ego problem. I want to make a relationship with many. Sometimes I get the ego problem. How to get rid of ego problem? Is that right understanding is the only solution, or any other thing you can suggest to get rid of ego?
So what do you call as ego?
Why should I go and start first? They did mistake. They let them start. Even with my sister, I felt before. Like now, day by day, after seeing some other issues, it got resolved. But now, yeah, at my family, I want to make I want to confirm the feeling of relationship. But so with some relationship, I am seeing some ego. Or and same way, others are seeing having some ego problem to come and talk to me. So, what is the correct word in our UHV so that I can get rid of the ego problem?
So with that person, what is your participation?
Now I am okay. I want to.
So what is your participation? Whether you are okay or not is not the issue.
Okay.
What is your participation with that particular person? With
That
whom
is
you have a
all
problem?
it started trying to make the relationship in smaller order, not in high order.
Now let us take this as a case study. Okay. So there is some problem in the relationship. The other person is not approaching me to talk to me. I also feel that why should I go first and talk to the other person? Now how can contemplation help here? Pardon? What is the right understanding here? If I go and talk to the other person, he or she may feel that yes, now he has committed mistake, he or she should come to me and talk, and I am superior and he or she is inferior. Will that help? Then what will happen? So what is my participation? So that is a decision that you are taking, but I am asking what is your participation innately with this person. So that is an expression, whether you go or do not go, whether you call or he calls, whether you like on the Facebook first, or he likes on the Facebook first. Pardon? Yeah, so my participation is the feeling. I have to ask myself whether I want to make the other happy or unhappy. This is the first step. So just labeling something as ego will not help. I have to ask myself, do I want to make the other person happy or unhappy? Now what will happen? I say that I want to make the other happy. Then what answer do I get? Yeah, I want to make the other happy. So should I go and talk to him? But maybe he will disrespect me. I wanted to make him happy, he has made me unhappy. Then? Pardon? I will? Another program. Yeah. So we are looking into our participation with a particular person with whom I am not having mutually fulfilling relationship. So within me I can be clear that I want to make the other person happy, and this is not something at the level of thought, something at the level of contemplation. I have to work out for myself. And when I am able to contemplate on my participation, it's not only with one person, it is with every other person. So I can see that I want to make the other person happy, the other also wants to make me happy, and this other could be anyone. It's only a variation of competence. My competence also had been lacking earlier. I am trying to improve my competence. The other person also needs to improve his competence. So if I get this kind of feeling, then I feel complementary. So my participation is complementarity here with the other person. In what terms? In developing the right understanding, in ensuring contemplation, understanding, realization in the other. Is that clear? So my participation is in terms of complementing the other to develop the self of the other. For that I can make a program, and I can very much see that if I do not have right understanding, I have problems. If the other person doesn't have right understanding, he or she has problems.
Bhaiya, I have a question from the previous slide. So when you say first we have to know the self, Which is that level? Contemplation, understanding, or realization?
So when I go to know the self, that I know myself. Now contemplation is there in me. So I have to know the contemplation also. I have to know understanding also. I have to know realization also. So I am the seer, I am the seen. So when I am knowing myself, I am also knowing the entire existence in that process.
Was what was my understanding so far. But when I see that line, now I'm confused. That first we have to know the self. Only when we know the knower, then I have the competence to know the existence. So now I'm confused. Which is that level?
Yeah,
so I thought it is the realization where I know the self and the existence, everything.
Yeah. So there at least I come to see that I am the self. I am not the body. This much I have to see. Then I can go further. But the completeness of right understanding will take place when I am able to see the submergence. And at that time, I am able to see me also in completeness. I am able to see the existence also in completeness. Because so far I was not aware of this potential to realize. Once I have realized, then I see that yes, this is there in me, by virtue of which I can see the entire existence, and at the same time I have seen the entire existence also. Yeah. But I have to see first that I am not the body, I am different from the body, I am a self, a conscious entity. Nice. So we talked about this thing, now we can detail upon this. So realization of coexistence. So existence is coexistence, which is in the form of units submerged in space. So every unit in nature is energized in space, self-organized in space, exists in a definite order, recognizes its relationship with every other unit and fulfills the relationship being in space. Now I have to start from myself. Am I energized? Yes. So each one of us is energized. We have energy, isn't it? We have activity. Am I self-organized? Yes. How? Pardon?
If I have a feeling of relationship, I will be in harmony. If I have a feeling of opposition, I will be in disharmony.
Yes. Yes. Nice. Yes. So I am self-organized. If I live in harmony, I am happy. If I do not live in harmony, I am not happy. If I have the feeling of relationship, I am happy. If I have the feeling of opposition, I am unhappy. And then I am also recognizing the relationship with other units, be it material or consciousness, and fulfilling. But I have to see this. Presently I am analyzing this, isn't it? Presently, with so much of exploration, we are able to analyze so well. Now it has to come to the level of seeing. So this, when seen in the case of self as an unit, I am a unit of consciousness in space. I am energized in space. Activities of desire, thought, expectation are continuous in me.
Bhaiya, recognizing the relationship with the other unit, like unit conscious to conscious, conscious to material, recognizing the relationship. But fulfilling the relationship in space, this was not clear. What to fulfill this recognition, that in terms to the space?
Yes. So at the level of realization, I can see that whatever is happening is happening being in space. So the recognition is also taking place being in space. The fulfillment is also taking place being in space. Space is there at the base.
Space is the base, but fulfilling this relationship with the other unit, that is happening in the space, correct?
Yeah. So everything is happening in space. The being of the unit is there in space. The fulfillment is also there in the space. The form and property are also there, while the unit is there in space. So
What kind of fulfillment is that?
Okay. So for example, if you talk about the self, so harmony in the self is fulfillment.
Okay.
If you talk about body, nurturing, protection, right utilization of the body is fulfillment.
That is for the material.
So
Any
an
material.
example of material is body. So it is, if it is belonging to the bio-order, then nurturing, protection, right utilization in the bio-order. If you look at the material order, then its innateness is existence. And
it's
you can
fulfilled.
see that participation in terms of composition, decomposition. So that is fulfillment. So for example, we make a building in such a way that we can live here. It has its own utility value, isn't it? So we are fulfilling in that manner. So when we are interacting with bricks and mortar and all these things, so we are able to make a building which can fulfill our needs. Yes, certainly. Yes.
There is no effort needed for doing this. It happens automatically, na? Because everything is happening in the space itself. It is conscious to conscious interaction, conscious to material, or whatever.
So the effort is there in the consciousness?
Yes.
Yeah. So
But
the effort,
unknowingly also it is happening, na?
Pardon?
Unknowingly also, if
Yes,
you are not paying any attention also, still it is happening.
Yes, it is happening, yes. So the recognition and fulfillment is happening every time. And it is based on assuming also, if you talk about consciousness. With knowing, we are doing it with understanding.
Assumption part, it involves some sort of effort. Attention is required.
So when you say effort, at least assumption is or assuming is involved.
Yeah.
So the plant is not making any effort to grow. It has a definite recognition and fulfillment. But we are making an effort to understand, to fulfill relationship, to nurture the body, to take care of the family. We are making effort. Now from here there is another state where we can do it effortlessly. So the potential to do effort is there in me.
Yes.
When I utilize it rightly, I do effortlessly now.
So in that sense, we are unique as compared to the other units, other orders.
There are only two kinds of units. So we are different from material, yes.
As compared to other orders of the nature, 3 orders.
Yeah.
So in that sense, we are unique also.
Yeah, so in the human order again, this knowing, potential to know is there. So that is something different from other orders. So I am a unit of consciousness in space. I am energized in space. Activities of desire, thought, expectation are there in me, which are continuous. I am self-organized being in space. I exist in a definite order. I can recognize my relationship with other units and fulfill it. When I do it, I feel happy. When I do not, I feel unhappy. As simple as this. With this realization, I live with authenticity in continuity. So here I am awakening to the activity of realization. So now we are moving from realization to understanding to contemplation. So at the level of realization, I can see this. So for the self, I can see this. So it is only the case of self. Similarly, I can see this for every unit. At the level of understanding,
I have something to say. I understood something, but I don't know whether I realized right now correctly. There is a saying by Wolfgang Pauli, God invented volume, he left the surface to devil. This is a statement.
Say it again.
God invented volume, he left the surface to devil. Actually, when we have a coffee in a cup, it takes time to release its heat. But when the same coffee is poured in a saucer, it will react fast. That is area packed system. We are all packed. You are telling space has no activity. I cannot even grasp anything, how to imagine that space has no activity. Now by connecting this example, I am trying to understand that we are all in a volume packed system. We are breathing. Without breathing, no human can be alive in this world. Without living, we cannot think of any interaction, love or feeling or war or anything in this world. Nothing is possible without breathing and visualization. That is seeing and doing is breathing. Two things are happening. This volume is saving us all. Suppose if the volume is an interacting parameter like ionosphere, we all cannot be in the world. Like we eat chicken, we become human pieces, chicken pieces.
I just respond by saying one sentence that
the
when
volume.
you try to raise similes, this will not help.
This
I have to see the reality as it is. I may equate something to something. I may find this formulation similar to some other formulation. Okay, but that will not help exactly.
But the air is non-reactive. The
No,
air
no
is
need to see. Air is a part of material order.
okay, but
Physical
that is
order.
safeguarding us. Like you say, all units are submerged in space. The air is safeguarding us actually.
No, no.
It's
see,
completely
again I have to
safeguarding
understand.
us.
This air is there in the nature. My body is breathing air, by which the body is surviving.
Yes.
Right? But I am not the body. So no need to equate A to B, B to C. No. I can see A as it is, B as it is, C as it is.
Okay.
So I can see the air as it is. It is a part of physical order. I can see the body as it is. It is part of bio order. I can see myself, a conscious unit. This is the way I have to see.
Okay. So this visualization is different, and that.
Yeah. So what you are doing, ultimately you are doing something in the domain of imagination. Only imagining and equating certain entities this way or that way will not help me come to the state of realization understanding.
Okay.
I have to see the reality as it is. Okay. So understanding of harmony in nature. So all units in the nature can be classified into 4 orders. These units and the 4 orders have definite innate or self-organization, which can be understood. The definiteness born out of understanding leads to the feeling of bliss. When I understand this, I am determined to live with my self-organization, my innateness, my harmony, and I facilitate the self-organization of other units. So when I am able to see this, the harmony within, I am in harmony within, and I facilitate the harmony in other units. Similarly, contemplation of my participation in the larger order. So every unit has a definite participation in the existence, a definite role to play in this existence. To be able to see this role, this participation in relationship with other units is called contemplation. In case of human being, it means trying to see what is my role in this existence, what is my participation in the larger order, within oneself, in the family, in society, in nature existence, what is my value in the existence, that is the human value. For example, in relationship of mutual fulfillment with the human being, leading to mutual happiness, leading to undivided society based on trust, respect, affection up to love. With this I can see that I have a definite role to play as a human being. Then my desire is to fulfill that definite role. My desires become definite. I can see that there is provision for fulfillment of the desires in nature. This leads to a feeling of satisfaction, that is contentment. So at the level of desire, I am able to contemplate of my participation, and I can also see that there is already provision for me to fulfill my participation. So it's not only that I want to make the other happy, I can make other happy, but this is the process. By developing the self of the other, I can be happy by developing the self within me, that is me. So there is already some provision. Every human being can self-explore. Every human being wants to self-explore. So I do not have to struggle to fulfill my desires, only that my desires were not in line with the coexistential harmony. So if you see a very simple thing that we can conclude for ourselves, that the existence is already in harmony. I only have to align with that. With my own misunderstanding, I had been misaligning. While there is relationship, I was thinking of opposition, isn't it? While there is harmony, I was planning for disharmony. While there is coexistence, I was thinking in terms of struggle. I was not aligning myself. I only have to align with the inherent coexistence, and rest everything is in order. This gives me satisfaction also, that my desires are there and they can always be fulfilled. Only that I have to have the right desires. So the desire to have undivided society is not something wrong. That is very much there. It can be fulfilled also. It's only that I have to know how every human being is related to every other human being. That is all. So this is my current state. Self working with imagination on the basis of sensation or preconditioning. When preconditioning or sensation are misguiding the imagination, so we have unguided senses, health and profit, unguided sensation. But when we are able to work in the right direction, when we are able to awaken the activities of contemplation, understanding and realization, then this guidance is there, and then we are in harmony. So with this I have clarity of relationship, natural characteristic, and that is participation in the larger order. I have clarity of harmony in the nature, that is self-organization, innateness. I have clarity of coexistence in existence, that is submergence. So this is the desired state. We will talk about it in more depth also. So we will talk about it at length.
Bhaiya, what is that power 1 and 2?
Pardon?
Eager to know. Power 1 and 2.
Okay. Power 1, 2, basically we have not used any word here. So it is the power to authenticate. It is the power to determine. Since these words are in common use, so we have used these words, because we generally use the desire. If you say what are you imaging, then the other person will have to think what is. But if you ask to make a list of desires, people can make a list of desires, isn't it? So since these words are in common use, so we have used here. We have not used any word for 1 and 2. So we will discuss this further. Like this part we are anyway going to discuss more in module 3, we will discuss at length. So we will talk about these higher activities of the self, contemplation, understanding and realization in detail in lecture 12 also. This brief discussion is in context of defining the process of knowing. Through this process of knowing, we can explore into the whole existence. So the homework associated with this lecture is: knowing is a specific need and activity of the self. Elaborate on what exactly is to be known and which specific activities of the self are involved. So now you are clear what exactly is to be known and which activities are involved. Is everything to be known definite and universal, or are there some things that are indefinite? When you are seeing a reality, what is the range of your seeing? Only up to the level of testing, or even comparing, or even contemplation? To what extent we are able to see? Nice. So we'll keep up to here. Umesh Bhaiya will now take up. Umesh Bhaiya.
Okay. So who is the knower? Who is the knower? Can you see yourself? So you can see the knower, right? Okay. So the knower can know. And what we can know? We can know the coexistence, we can know harmony, and we can know the relationship. Correct? But what is happening? Mostly we are assuming. So what we are assuming? What are we assuming mostly? I'm the body, there is opposition, there is ego, the struggle, the complaints, all these things I am assuming, right? So most of the time, what is the part of my imagination is all of my assumptions, correct? And these assumptions are motivated either of my preconditioning or sensations. And that is triggering my desires. Okay. So the contemplation is happening or it's not happening? Not happening. So what is the source of my desires? is basically the preconditioning, lots of preconditioning, lots of sensations, right? All of my assumptions, and that is basically triggering out my desires. So from here out, but what is the meaning of contemplation? Contemplation is basically what? What would be the content of contemplation? See, instead of this mother-in-law, father-in-law, dean, director, friend, my ego, my evaluation, others' evaluation, how other is behaving, what other is doing, instead of that, when I start contemplating on space, this reality which is all pervading, which is continuous, which is endless, it has no shape. So the space is there. I am also submerged in the space, you are also submerged in the space, the body is also submerged in the space, every unit is submerged in the space. So if this is there, instead of how will I take the revenge, or the other is not behaving properly. So this is one set of assumptions I have. The other set of reality I have is the space is there which is continuous, and every single unit is submerged in the space. Right? So when we studied this whole existence, and we have been studying the whole existence, so what do you think? This existence is in the form of coexistence, right? So this coexistence will become the content of my contemplation. So continuously contemplating on what? Coexistence. Continuously contemplating on what? Harmony. That this nature has got the 4 orders, and each of these order is mutually fulfilling to the other order, getting enriched within its own order and also enriching the other order. So the content of contemplation is this harmony in the nature. The content of contemplation is this relationship is in the nature. So if I am continuously contemplate on coexistence, harmony, relationship, what sort of desires I would have? So I would have the desires of coexistence. I would have the desires of harmony. I will have the desires of relationship, which means my participation. This desire will motivate my thoughts, so as my expectations. So one is the source for this is outside, the other source for this is inside. This realization, this understanding. Okay. If this is happening, I would slowly progress towards ensuring that continuity of happiness. Right? This is that slow progress towards the continuity of happiness. What that progress would be? I need to look, observe within, what's going on. Every moment ask this question to yourself, what is going on in me now? Coexistence is there, harmony is there, relationship is there, the thought of coexistence is there, the thought of harmony is there, the thought of relationship is there, or the thought of spouse is there, the thought of HOD is there, thought of dean is there. Every time, right? Every time if I keep observing what is going on, so this is the meaning of what is going on. I can start looking within and I can see that what's going on in me. Right? If the contemplation is happening, what do you think that? Would there be any sort of irritation? Yes, no. Anger? No. So what is going on? If the irritation is going on, this can be an indicator for me, this can be an indicator to you, this can be an indicator to each one of us. What? I am not contemplating, right? But whatever is there in my, at the level of my imagination, this B2 block, imagination is going on there in my mind, and I am just taking on my mind only. Manan ko, Didi, what we can call Manan? Manan. English. See, contemplation, Chintan is the contemplation. Manan, Manan is the thing, we take the content only at the level of mind only. In my mind only I am taking that content. So what it would be? Okay, whatever it may be. There are these two blocks, okay? There are these two blocks. If I am only in this B2 block, then something is happening. What is that happening? That is called Manan, because the B2 block is mind, right? So only Manan is happening, only I am in the B2 block. But this is called Chintana. Chintan means contemplation. Okay? Chintan means contemplation. So whether I am at the level of my B2 block only, or I am opening that B1 block and contemplating. So this way and this way, right? Yesterday Bhaiya and today Bhaiya also and Sir also said these two approach, the top down and bottom up. So there are these two things. Number one, like what we are doing, we are studying the books, we are exploring proposals, we are trying to understand. So we are taking this approach, right? Other approach could be directly conduct this research within you, because ultimately the realization is going to happen within you, right? I am going to realize, you are going to realize within you. So this research within you, so that is top down approach. Studying is basically the bottom up approach. Okay? Are we happy? Are we happy? Yes, very good. That's nice. Yes, we are happy, right? We are happy, but that continuity of happiness may not be there. But we are happy, right? Why we are happy? The reason this selecting is getting right now. So if my selections are right, I am happy. If my selections are not right, it may lead to the disharmony. Like selecting a food. Why am I selecting the food? Nurture the body. Selection is happening on the basis of nurturing the body, I am happy. Why I am selecting other human being? For the fulfillment of my relationship, I am selecting the other human being. Selection is right, I am happy. Correct? But the selection is always guided by my testing. So whether I am picking up food from that buffet on the basis of testing, and the testing is also on the basis of the sensation, then what do you think? The selecting will be right or wrong? Wrong. If I pick a human being on the basis of the sensation, right or wrong? Wrong. Unhappy.
Sometimes it can be correct, sometimes it can be wrong. Sensation. So all which senses good need not be bad.
Yeah, I mean, see, sensation has a very important role, right? Because of the sensation only I am able to listen to you, I am able to see to you, right? So the sensations are there. The sensations are of the body, so they are for the body. So if I am using this sensation for the body, they are always guided sensation. And with such sort of testing, if I am doing the selecting, this selecting is always right.
Sir, actually,
But if I am selecting a food which is looking good, the color of the food is good, and based on that color, the testing of the color, if I am selecting, then it may not be a right selection.
may not be. Because all the animals are selecting food only through sensing, no, sir. But they are able to correctly judge.
Yeah.
No understanding taking place.
Very right, Didi, you know, and each one of us have noticed it. From the origin of a particular race of an animal, their testing has not changed. So the selection of food also has not changed. The same race of an animal select the same kind of food even today, right? Even today. Because this testing is happening on the basis of they want to survive. So for the survival of the body, they are eating the food. So the testing always on the basis of the survival of the body, to feed the body, to nurture the body. But in case of human being, in case of me and you, we just don't want to survive, but we want to be happy. Correct? So there is possibility that we may connect our happiness with the sensations. So the moment we connect our happiness with the sensation, the testing would happen on the basis of the sensation, selecting would happen on the basis of the sensation. Now such sort of selection is right selection or wrong selection? Unhappy, right? Unhappy. So we are happy, right? But that continuity is not there. Why the continuity is not there? Because continuously the testing is not happening, or continuously the testing is not being guided with this contemplation. But many times the testing is being guided by my preconditioning and sensation. So that's the reason the testing changes, the selecting changes. When the selection, and for the fulfillment of the testing and selection, we have these expectations, and the fulfillment of the expectations is from the outside. Like, why do we select human being? We are selecting human being. Why we are selecting human being? For the fulfillment of relationship, I am okay with that. But if I am selecting human being to become happy, now what will happen? I will start expecting everything from you only. Correct? Now this selecting is right or wrong? Wrong. Happy or unhappy? Happy. So just by making our selections right, which means our testing right, guided by the contemplation of coexistence, harmony and relationship, the participation, we can be happy. But would that be a continuity of happiness? No. For the continuity of happiness, the peace is also required. So what is the meaning of peace? When my thoughts are organized, right? When my thoughts are systematic, peace. So happiness is there, the peace is there, the continuity would be there? No. Why? Because there is possibility that the desires may get formed by either by preconditioning or by contemplation. So the desires which are formed by the preconditioning puts me into the states of satisfaction. But if the desires are not formed by the contemplation, right? Can we achieve the satisfaction? Like we are trying to achieve the satisfaction by doing a job. Is it possible to get the job satisfaction? The satisfaction is only possible when my desires are formed by the coexistence, harmony and relationship. Then only I can reach to the state of satisfaction. So now happiness is also there, the peace is also there, the satisfaction is also there. Can I have that continuity? No. Why? Because the bliss is not there. And the bliss can be achieved by only understanding the harmony at the nature, right? When I reach to this level, understanding this harmony, the bliss is there now. So happiness is there, peace is there, satisfaction is there, bliss is there. With these four, that continuity would be there? No. Why? Because I need to understand where this nature is. So when I understand this space, the all-pervading space, and when I understand that every single unit is submerged in the space, when I understand that coexistence, that is the state of super bliss. So having the continuity of happiness, peace, satisfaction, bliss, and super bliss, this is the continuous state of happiness. Down top approach. Okay? This is downward top. We are moving from down to top. From happiness to peace, peace, happiness and satisfaction, peace, the happiness, peace, satisfaction and bliss, and then working for the super bliss. Correct? But this is not, you will achieve happiness, then only you will get the peace. All these things can happen simultaneously also. You could have little glimpse of the peace also, little glimpse of satisfaction also. So slowly and gradually, this glimpse, the moments will increase in terms of span of the time, right? There is possibility that lot of intervals are there now, but that intervals will get gradually minimized.
Bhaiya,
And then every moment we can remain in the same state.
Bhaiya, the super,
Yes.
super bliss is the state of continuous happiness.
Yeah, reaching to that state is the continuous state of happiness. See, what is the meaning of super bliss? Super bliss is basically realization within. Realization of what? Realization of the coexistence, right? Realization of coexistence includes understanding of harmony. It includes understanding of relationship. Reaching to that state is the state of an excellence. Reaching to that state is understanding love and living with love. So expression of love in the form of beneficence, compassion, and the kindness, that is the state, the super bliss. Okay? So that's the state of completeness of right understanding with it. So that is the state of continuity of happiness. So there is a continuously, every moment, between the moment, the harmony within, the happiness within. Okay? Break.
Thank you, Umesh ji. We will have a break, half an hour break, and join back at 4:30, and we will continue our introductions. Thank you. Please settle down. D3, session 4, last session. And after this session, we will have the meeting at 6:15 for the SWR region at the conference hall of the guest house. And parallelly we'll have FAQs also, just like we had yesterday. So let me welcome Ganesh ji for continuing the session. Welcome, Ganesh ji. Off.
So welcome. Welcome everybody. So this afternoon, it was really a tough time. Now you realize, why people don't dare to know about oneself. It is so difficult. And particularly after the lunch, when your body is so heavy and it has literally taken over the self, it is difficult to think of self and reflect on self. So what I would do is repeat what we have talked about in the last session, because it is one of the most important part of the whole workshop. Okay. What is being said in the last session is that if you look at your own self, then it is this self who is knowing about himself, about things around, about the whole nature and existence. Is that clear? Who is the knower? Self. Is that clear to everyone, or there is any doubt? Okay. So this is one important thing. Now what are the things to be known? The entire existence is to be known, because knowingly or unknowingly I am living with this entire existence, in this entire existence. So I need to know the whole thing. So if I have to live with happiness, live in harmony in this entire existence, then I must know this entire existence. Is that clear, or there is any doubt on this? So I am the knower and this whole existence, including myself, is the thing that I have to know, right? That much is clear. Okay. Or there is any question on this? So who is the knower? Self is the knower. And what is to be known? This is clear to everyone? Yes. Now connecting these two, is the process of knowing. ये ज़्यादा ठीक होगा देखता हूँ. So this process of knowing is something which needs lot of exploration. Okay. The knower is clear, it is the self, the I. The known is also very clear, the whole existence is to be known including myself. When it comes to the process of knowing, then there is a whole range of it. So if you look at the self, it consists of these 5 different set of activities. It consists of these 5 different sets of activities. And when you say knowing, it may be from any of these, right? For example, if I am observing things from here, selecting and testing, okay. So suppose I am looking at you, what will I see? The form, right? The shape, the size, the color, right? And you think that you have known someone, right? I know that X person. And what is the meaning of knowing there? Is that clear? Yeah. So when you go to a new place, like if you go from here to Bhutan, there you feel everybody is are of the similar, kind of face built. Very difficult to differentiate, but they can differentiate. For you it is very difficult. So you, I know the shape, the size, the color of that person. Is that enough? No. So knowing the form by looking at the other person at the level of selecting and testing is not enough. Okay, clear? Any doubt? No. Okay. Now I look at that person, I look at his behavior, right? I look at his behavior, I do some analysis, okay, and see how his behavior is, whether it is good, bad, okay. That is looking at it here. So looking at the property. So your mother-in-law, right? The shape, size, color is all okay, okay, but it comes to behavior intolerable. So somebody else looks at your mother-in-law, he thinks it is all fine, okay. She looks fine, okay. But when you think of your mother, you are not thinking from here, You are thinking from here, looking at the property. There is a difference? Yes. Now when you say your mother is terrible, the other person is not able to understand. He says, okay, she looks okay. I mean, what is the problem? ठीक है, ये समझ में आ रहा है? Any difficulty? Now when you start looking from here, this participation in the larger order, this relationship, if you ask yourself what is naturally acceptable to you as a human being in your relationship, when you are with other human being, what is naturally acceptable to you? Feeling of relationship, feeling of opposition. Relationship. Feeling of trust, mistrust. Respect, disrespect. So if you look at this level, you find that everyone is like me, including that mother-in-law. So now mother-in-law will look different. Here it was looking different. Here it was looking different. Now it is looking very different. Can you understand this? So the moment you start looking here, from here, things will start changing. Nothing has changed in the mother-in-law. She is there, right, what she was. But something has changed in you. And what has changed in you? Your level of perception, right? You were seeing things from here, now you are seeing from here. So somebody was just sharing outside, that after 5 years, she has rang up her mother-in-law, and asked, how are you? So what change has taken place? Mother-in-law doesn't even know, what has happened. Okay. What has happened in you? The change has taken place in your seeing, under quote and quote. You were trying to look at her from here, and you were hurt of the behavior, right? You did not want to see the face even, okay, all those. But now that you see that as a human being, we all have natural acceptance for relationship. So my natural characteristic and the natural characteristic of my mother-in-law is the same, and for that matter it is same for all human beings. So till you are seeing here the form and the property, there seems to be lot of variation. Okay. Everyone seems to have a different shape, size, color and so on, and different kind of behavior. But when I look at a human being from here, I start finding that we are all similar. You understand this? So in real terms, the commonness in human being can be seen when at least I am seeing from here. There I always see differences. And because our seeing things are limited at the level of selecting and testing, or at the level of analyzing and comparing, and whole of our knowledge system today is only restricted to this. Therefore, we always tend to see the variety, the difference, the oppositions. The real understanding of things starts from here. That is what is being said. The main thesis of this last class was that right understanding starts with this. This also gives me some information, but it generally gives me the information about the differences, right? About the variety, about the changes. What is common about human being? That I am able to see when I see from here. When I come here, if I am looking at human being at the level of understanding human being, understanding that harmony in human being, then I can see that I as human being desire for continuity of happiness, and that continuity of happiness is ensured only when I understand the harmony and I live in harmony. That is what is being human, right? That is when I as human being feel fulfilled. So, to know the harmony and to be in harmony, to live in harmony, that is the basic, harmony in human being. If I understand this, what do you think? It is going to be same for me, for you and for everyone else? Or it is going to be different for different people? So, at the level of relationship we are same, right? What I see at the level of contemplation, we are all same. At the level of understanding a human being, understanding the harmony in human being, we are all same, similar. And ultimately when I look at this at the level of realization, I see that every one of us is submerged in space, the body, the self, right? We are submerged in space. I am submerged in space, you are submerged in space, right? So when I look at the level of realization, each one of us as human being are submerged in space. We will get into this detail little more about this submergence. But at the level of contemplation, when I see every human being has natural acceptance for relationship, it is same for all of us. When I look at human being at the level of understanding, we all have the basic desire for continuity of happiness, and that desire is fulfilled by understanding the harmony and living in harmony. Is it same for all of us? Yes. And similarly, when I look at the level of realization, I can see that I as self is in coexistence in space, the body is also in coexistence in space, and as a human being I am all in coexistence in space. And so is the case for with every one of us. So when I operate at the level of contemplation, understanding and realization, I can really understand the human being, right? And in that, at that level we are all same, we are all similar. So that is what is being said, that if you want to have right understanding about any unit, then operating at these two levels is not enough. We have to operate at the level of contemplation, understanding and realization. We have to see the participation of that unit in the larger order, the relationship of this unit with the entire existence. We have to see the harmony in that unit, and we have to see the coexistence of that unit. Then only we are able to see that unit, particular unit. Over and above, seeing the shape, size, color and the property of that unit. This is true for one unit, this is true for all units, ultimately for the whole existence. Yes. Do you get the feel of what is being said? If there is any question on this, we should, reflect over it. Yes. When you are looking at the level of contemplation, it is talking about the participation of one human being with other human being, one unit with other unit. When you are talking about understanding, it is talking about the harmony of that particular unit. In this case, harmony at the level of human being. So what is the harmony at the level of human being? With right understanding, with the understanding of harmony, I can live in harmony, and with that harmony, I am in a state of harmony and happiness. I can be in harmony only when I understand the harmony. Right? And when I understand the harmony and I live in harmony, then I am in a state of happiness. And that is what is my basic human desire. So if you look at the harmony in human being, first condition is understanding of the harmony. So I must be able to understand the harmony at all levels of my being. And if I understand the harmony, I can live in harmony. And if this too happens, I am in a state of happiness, continuous happiness. That is the harmony in human being. This is true for me. Is this true for you? Is this true for everyone? So at the level of contemplation, I find that we are similar. At the level of understanding also, I find that we are similar. Right? At the level of realization also, I find that each one of us is in space. Where am I? In space? Yeah, every unit is in space. I, you and everyone. There is little more to it which I will discuss, that if you start looking at the self and this self in space, there are certain deeper things which you can realize. I will come to that later. But to begin with, I want to draw your attention to the fact that when you say I am seeing something, this seeing is possible at the level of each of these activities. And as long as you are seeing from this level of activity or this level of activity, you see differences. You see varieties, right? You don't see similarity. You don't see that oneness. But if you see from here, here or here, then you can see this similarity. You can see that these units belonging to one particular order are similar. Right? Their participation is similar, their harmony is similar, their coexistence is similar. So these three activities really qualify for right understanding. If you limit to this, you do not have right understanding. Yes.
B1 block, the level of contemplation and understanding if we have, then it does mean B2 block activities are completely closed out.
Yeah, B1 block.
If we are in B1 block, our level of that is contemplation level, then B2 block activities are completely not appear, or still they are also running in the imagination.
They will be running and they will be properly guided by B1.
always B1, B2 block activities are always in the imagination process.
Yeah, unfortunate thing is that when B1 is not active and B2 is running, the activities of B2 are going on, but they are unguided. That is what is creating problem. When B1 activities are now there, the activity in B2 will continue to be there, but now they will be guided activities, guided by my contemplation, my understanding and my realization. Then they will fall in place. That is what is being said. Before they are unguided. When this B1 is empty, then B2 are active. B2 activities are there, but they are unguided. You want to get tasty food, and you get tasty food and you go on eating, right? Even if it spoils your health, isn't it? So it is unguided. When this B1 is active, when B1 is active, then also B2 will be there, but now they will be guided.
All activities of B2
Now
are...
I will eat food, but while eating food and tasty food, I will always keep in mind that food is for nurturing the body and not harming the body. So I will cook tasty food, I will eat tasty food, but when I find that my stomach is full, right, will I continue to eat? No, because I know the value now. The value of the food is to nurture the body, and if I eat the food anymore, it is going to harm the body. So I will stop. So I am still doing this analysis, selection, all this I am doing. But now this selection, this analysis is guided by my understanding of relationship, harmony and coexistence. Is it clear? The problem today is this, that B1 and B2, B1 is empty, we are not able to see this, the relationship part, the harmony part, the coexistence part. You are only seeing the differences. You are operating at the level of thought and expectation, and it is you are totally unguided, uncontrolled. So you go on indulging, right? And that indulging keeps creating a lot of problem for you. What do you think? People today are suffering more because of overeating or undereating? Overeating.
This contemplation, understanding and realization, these are in the process of sequence. Contemplation, first the activity which is running in the mind, the level of contemplation if we have, then only we are able to reach understanding level, or these are simultaneously will happen.
No, I didn't get your point.
This contemplation and understanding and realization, all these are state activities which are running simultaneously or one over the other, one by one.
When you start going from below to up, when I am going from here to here to here and so on, it is taking place one by one, right? But when I come from top to down, this upper one is included here, these two are included here, these three are included here, right? and all those are included here. Right?
Anything may be possible.
So I have to go from down to up to the realization. From there I have to come down. Now everything is in place. Everything is guided. Nothing is left unguided. So you will not run the risk of meeting accidents. That is what is desirable, isn't it? Interesting, you know. Presently, lot of thoughts are going on, you know, in you. Do you decide what to think? Or just some thinking goes on? It goes on, right? So what is it? Guided, unguided? Unguided, uncontrolled. Right? When you are coming from the top, you will decide this arrow is important, this red arrow, you know. All these slowly we will explain. All these are very important. This red arrow from B1 to B2 is one which decides what is going to take place in B2. So it is not just arbitrarily something happening in B2. I think what I want to think. If I want to think of X, I think of X, right? I think with the acceptance of relationship for this person, right? Not otherwise. If I want to think of Y, I think of Y. So B2 is not unguided. Last session was so tough that some people are still sleeping.
Bhaiya,
So I think it is time we wake them up. Yes.
Bhaiya, can I say that expectations are in the form level and thoughts are in the property or behavioral level? Can we say that?
Yes, that is it. See, what is the issue of thinking? The issue of thinking is the interaction between two units. When you see at the level of selecting and testing, you are seeing the form, the shape, the size, the color, and like that, right? Only when you go to the level of contemplation that you start looking at the relationship. At the level of feeling, you start seeing things. The whole of science today is operating here. And as long as you are studying the material world, this is still fine, you know, it can work. The moment you come to the world of consciousness, you are stuck. When you come to the world of consciousness, you are stuck. You have to talk about this, the basic natural characteristic. You have to talk about the harmony, about the coexistence. Otherwise, you don't understand the consciousness. And if you don't understand the consciousness, then you will always make a wrong evaluation about the other consciousness unit. Now, we don't understand our own, natural characteristic, right? We don't understand our harmony. Therefore, we are not able to understand the natural characteristics and harmony of the other person. The moment I start understanding about myself, I see that the other is like me. So that same mother-in-law suddenly, turns so different. Can you see this? Yeah. The form has not changed. The behavior has not changed. Okay. She might be still shouting. But now you can see that deep down, you know, what is naturally acceptable to her is the feeling of relationship, feeling of trust, feeling of respect, right? She wants to be in harmony, and when she understands the harmony, she will be in harmony and she will be happy, right? So that mother-in-law is like me. Every human being is like me.
Bhaiya, one.
So in the science today, we are only focusing on the shape, the size, the color, and the properties.
Bhaiya, I believe 99% are in material world only. Suppose I have 10 apples. I am giving 2 apples to Supraja madam, 8 apples to our Didi. So how does she feel? Because we are in the material world.
Yeah, so if you are in the material world and if you are operating only at that level, then you will keep differentiating or you will feel differentiated.
This is what is happening.
That is what is happening. And so every one of us is in trouble. If
When
you give, you are in trouble. If you don't give, then also you are in trouble.
If I give equally, there is no trouble. 4 plus 4.
Not so easy. Not so easy. If you have 10 acres of land and you distribute 5 acres each to your son, don't think they both will be happy. They will think that you would have accumulated 20 acres. What was the problem? Okay. Why only you accumulated 10 acres? Isn't it? That is what is happening now. Even that people with 30 lakhs crores of asset, they are not feeling satisfied. 30 lakh crore, you think enough? 30 lakh crores
I
of
don't know
asset.
about number of zeros, Bhaiya. I am not in that scale.
We have a family in India whose asset is 30 lakh crores. Yes, exactly. For most of the people who are not from mathematics, it will be very difficult to decide the number of zeros.
Ganeshi,
Yeah.
one question. Yeah, we say relationship with every other unit in the nature at the contemplation level. So then itself I can see harmony in the nature. So how do we differentiate between this relationship and harmony, contemplation and understanding that?
This says that every unit is self-organized. This says every unit is participating in the self-organization of other units. So for I as human being, I am self-organized. That is what is being said here. Then I am participating in the self-organization of everyone else. That is the participation in the larger order. That is the meaning of relationship. And you can see only when you are self-organized, you can participate in the self-organization of other units. That is the difference. This says that the basis of this self-organization is that I am submerged in space. So by virtue of submergence in space, which I realize, I am in self-organized state. Every unit is in a state of self-organization. And then with that self-organization, every unit is participating in the self-organization of other units. That's it. That is the meaning of realization, understanding and contemplation. And all this is there, you don't have to create it. They are there, you have to understand it. So they are there, they are definite. You don't have to create those things, you have to understand those things. So you are not left, in the bewilderedness, in uncertainty of the world. No, things are already definite, right? They are universal in nature. All that I or you as a human being has to do is to understand them, to know them. So things are not by chance, by uncertainty. Things are definite. They are already there. I have to understand them. We see things uncertain if we are operating at these levels.
So here one more
That is
question.
why the science, if you really get to the details of science, you end up with probability, end up with uncertainty. Because there is no basis for you to see the commonness, the definiteness, the universality.
Sir, here one more doubt.
So
In my-
ultimately it all boils down to uncertainty principle.
Sir, here
Yeah.
my life, I have already selected a wife and life is going on. Is it any general process to select a good life partner? Even after marriage, the trend may be changed. Even you can give the UHV in the picture wise, okay. But I give the structure wise to tell wife, they don't understand UHV. You are wasting time like that, they have informed. What can I do in that situation?
First condition is that you should understand this. That is first condition. Before you go to choose a wife, okay. Yes, you have to certify yourself, number one. Then the wife also, if she has the clarity, understanding, okay, that it is good. Otherwise, you have to work to ensure that she develops that clarity. Right? I would say these are the two necessary things. Number one, you have that clarity. Number two, the other partner has the clarity.
But here we have see the photo, then what she is studying, what she is studying in that area, then money plays a important role. Then parents also force you that girl you marry or that boy you marry. In that situation, I want to happy both.
Yeah, so before the marriage or after the marriage, you have to ensure this in yourself, you have to ensure this in your wife. It's as simple as that. Do it before the marriage, do it after the marriage, it has to be done. Otherwise, if you see only on the basis of money, on the basis of the shape, size, color, you know what happens. I don't have to describe that. Okay. Geeta ji will give a very good description.
That's
She,
why. That's why I'm asking, arising this
for the
question. My
morning
case
session,
over.
Geeta ji is one of the active, participant of the morning session. When she joined this session, when was it? 2021 or 2020? So, this morning session, she was giving so much of elaborate description about what happens between husband and wife, both of them professor, qualified. Now, what is he? Okay. He is running an institute, typewriting institute. Now we can all laugh at it. Huh? I mean, she can also laugh at it because now we understand what is happening. Yeah, give him some guidance. You can explain better. Eh? Let us? Yeah, she will share. She is very good at sharing. She kept the morning session very alive, for almost 2 years. Yes. Respond to him.
I don't know where to start, Bhaiya.
Yeah. True.
Sir, I wish to share something. Actually, myself and my husband are totally opposite to each other in everything. The thing is, in UHV, we are discussing like tasting the food is just to nurture the body. So, as per my view, I'm having food to live, but for him, he is living to eat. But he looks very lean. Everybody will ask, "Are you married?" "I have 2 kids." "Oh, you have 2 kids." And next question, "This is my wife." Now nobody is believing actually. So I have went through a very difficult journey. So what he will do is like, even if I prepare bhaji at home, he will make a small hole at the center and he will make some stuff inside, onion and squeeze lemon on it, and then he will eat and he will give a reaction like something as if the bhaji what I prepared is not tasty. So he feels like, so at that time, now I said a statement like, I'm having food to live. But after he eats that, on seeing his reaction, I think like he's in a harmony state. So every time he used to say, each and every moment we have to enjoy and do anything, whatever we do. So he is always in a harmony state only. But I was getting tensed because they are expecting varieties of food, but I can't. But I will concentrate on healthy, hygienic and healthy food. But they want tasty food. And one more thing is, even if whenever I was in a stressful mood or something like that, I used to, my weight will reduce little bit. But when I was happy for more than 4 to 5 days, immediately or 2 to 3 kgs, I will just have more weight. But normally food and all, I will just eat very less only. So I can completely understand myself. Everything depends upon myself. Myself is controlling my body. Everything depends on that. But on seeing him, I just get an opposite reaction. If he have non-veg, he'll eat like something. But he is not at all putting weight for. So,
Purnima ma'am. Ma'am, our harmony இருக்குது உங்களுக்கு disharmony கொண்டு வருது.
Correct. So, I really have a doubt whether having food and enjoying each and everything will make in a harmony state, make them in a harmony state. But we are talking only self. When we have proper understanding with self only, we will be in a harmony state. Sometimes I feel like that.
Yeah, the only observation I have to make is that if you are looking at yourself and your husband at the level of this, testing and selecting and then analyzing, then you might decide or conclude that you are quite opposite. Right? That's what the statement you made, right? But if you start looking at yourself and your husband at the level of this contemplation, understanding and realization, you find that you are both similar. That you have to see. That you have to see. Otherwise, you start with that wrong assumption that you and he are diametrically opposite. Is it a right conclusion? If you start with that conclusion, what can you do now? Helpless, that's it. Eh? The harmony is gone and I cannot do anything because we are opposite, that's it. But if I can see the similarity, the commonness, then there is a space for me to work. I can work with the other person. For example, I can work with every one of you because I understand that deep down all of you have acceptance for relationship, harmony and coexistence, which is already there in you. I only have to keep drawing your attention towards it. You may take time paying attention to it, you may take time seeing it, right, in yourself. But I am sure that it is there in you, you have a natural acceptance for all this. So if I can help drawing your attention towards it, and after some pursuance you decided to look into yourself, you will find that it is there. If that happens, my job is done, right? Isn't it? Yeah. But I can do that because I understand that it is already there in you. So if you can see that it is already there in your husband, it is already there in your mother-in-law, you can work with him, right? And when you see that it is there in you, you become comfortable. You are in harmony, isn't it? So at least I want to be comfortable within. So I can be comfortable by understanding this relationship, that is, I have natural acceptance for relationship, harmony and coexistence. If I see this for myself, I am in harmony within, I am in a state of happiness within. And then I can see that this is true for every human being. Therefore I have hope for every human being, and I can work for every well-being of every human being, including my husband, my wife, my friends, students, teachers, everyone. Yes, this is time 5:30, right? So formally we will close, but if there are questions we can take up. I will just close in one line. So what we are saying in this is that knowing is what needs to be described properly. It has 5 possibilities. I am trying to know, see from here, 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 here and here. When I see from this lower 2, testing and comparing, analyzing, then I see differences. There is no way to see the similarity. If I am looking at the higher level, contemplation, understanding and realization, then only I really understand something about the unit. And there is definiteness there, universality there. So we will continue. Formally we will close, it is 5:30, we have to catch the bus. But then we can continue with the questions if there are any.
Thank you, Ganesh ji, for that session.
Ji?
Now, we will formally wind up today's session now. We'll have a 10 minutes break. Then we'll have informal FAQs in this hall itself.